the Chitas of today. We're holding in the portion of Tzavim, which is on in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse number 7. And the God will bring about all these curses on your enemies, and those who hate you, who pursue you. You will turn and you'll hear to the voice of God. He says, you'll do all his commandments, which I command you today. And God, your God, will grant you super abundance in all that you do. On the fruits of your womb, on the fruits of your domestic animals, on the fruits of your soil. The teva for good. Because you're gonna once again you're gonna return to God to do good. And God once again rejoice over you as He rejoiced for you to do good for you. And He will rejoice as He rejoiced over your forefathers. Verse number 10. Because you will listen to the voice of God. To watch His commandments and all His decrees. Which is written in this Torah. Because you return to God with all your heart and with all your soul. By my door. Yes. You know, probably make class about it. Okay, that completes the Chumash for today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We're holding in the middle of the 70th letter of the Alter Rebbe. This is the meaning of what our sages of blessed memory said. And then it says, and concerning the people, the souls in Gan Eden, it says in the world to come, here meaning Gan Eden, that there's no eating, there's no drinking, but the righteous sit with their crowns on their heads, and they take in the delight. They sit and they enjoy the delight, the radiance of the divine presence of God. So they are enjoying God's, the spiritual delight. That's what they're enjoying. But the word is atara, is a crown. What means a crown? A crown is something that encompasses you. It surrounds you. It circles you. It doesn't. It's something that you don't. The crown is on top of the head, not something that's in the head. So it's concept of bechinas makiv is a concept of makiv, meaning that it's not that they don't have the real revelation. This refers to the illumination of neither counteracts nor adapts itself, so that it can be vested in very fine degrees within the created. Rather, it descends the worlds to the worlds and encompasses them equally. So that's why it's a concept that eludes them ultimately, that they don't have this revelation within them. It's called a keser. Why is a crown called in Hebrew a keser? Because it comes from the keteret. Keseris, like a capital which crowns a column. As the Beis Hamikdash built by Solomon, it was crowns on the columns of beams. Atara is thus the crown worn on the head, while a keter means also a crown on top of a column. This is the illumination of the light of Sfiras HaKeser that will be revealed in the world to come, results from the 613 commandments, which is the likened to the 600 Tarach columns. Remember, we learned in Tanya that there's 620 ultimately, because you have 613 Torah commandments, and then you have 7 rabbinical commandments. So you have 620. So they're like columns. Like you have like these columns in front of buildings. Many of them are hollow in the middle. They're seeming like columns that are fully dense, but no, they're hollow in the middle. So this is like columns of like corresponding to 600 commandments. The 7 rabbinical commandments, numbers equal to the word keser, and they're on these columns. So they're like conduits of beams that came for the light of God to go above. And that's the concept of mitzvah. Mitzvah is the concept of connection in Chassidus. To connect. What's the connection? Is these columns. And the Sfiras HaKesed is the intermediary which joins the radiance and revelation of the emanator, the blessed and safe, to the emanated beings of the world of Atzilus. So the emanator is infinite, while the emanated beings which are within a world, and even the lofty worlds bound, is still bound by limitations, are finite. Even Atzilus is a finite world in comparison to Ein Sof. There must therefore be intermediary between the two. It's a sphere of Keser. That's a sphere of Keser. So you have Chachma of the world. That's the beginning of every world, Chachma of every world. And then you have the concept of Keser, which is the intermediary between what's above and what's below. And that's why there's two levels in Keser. In Keser itself, you look see this, there's two levels within the crown. The level that's above, beyond, and there's a level that connects to the world. For its internal dimension is related to the emanator, and its external dimension, the Chetzonis and Pnimis, there's the inner of Keser, and there's the Chetzonis of Keser. So the inner of Keser is connected closer to the emanator, and the God, and the Chetzonis of Keser is closer to the world that it's coming from, that's giving it to. Emanated being. It is thus through the sphere of Keser that the infinite light of God is drawn into the world of Atzilus, and emanated beings which populate it. But in the world to come, in the future, Mashiach comes, this light will not be a slave of Kalam. This light will be Mamala Kalam. It will radiate and become revealed. Not that that's going to enjoy the light. The Pasha going to see it. In this world, to all the righteous who rise again in resurrection of the dead. So you might think it's only the righteous, and therefore the verse says, that we're all righteous. So therefore this transcendent degree divine light is thus revealed to the entire Jewish people. Be'ezat Hashem. Accordingly, the illumination that presently is received only by those beings that inhabit the world of Atzilus will radiate in the world to come to the physical world as well. For unlike in the indwelling of the illumination of Gan Eden, that is dependent on the level of comprehension of each recipient, this revelation is an encompassing light of the sphere of Keser. So it's not Chochmah, it's Keser, which does not undergo contraction, but radiates to all equally. And that's what's going to be, Be'ezat Hashem, when Mashiach comes. This results in a state of total revelation, whereby the very essence of divinity is visual, perceived, riyat amahus. We see not the ray, not the ray, but we see the mahus. We see the essence. Gila, the revelation of essence, and that's why it cannot be explained what that means exactly. What means revelation of essence? Cannot comprehend it at this present time. This is a state of the right. It is written, the glory of God will be revealed, and together all flesh, v'ro kol hamiyotz, the whole world, every flesh, or kabasa, every flesh will see it. And this is the meaning of what our sages said. In the future, the righteous will be lauded as holy, as God is praised now. Because night now, Kaddish means separation, which is not subject to apprehension and knowledge. It's Kaddish, it's above comprehension. Because the Eibush, the Ein Sof, is far beyond even the wisdom of Atzilus. Because as the Chachma itself says, where does it come from? Where does it come from? It comes from the Keser Elyon. It comes from a place that's higher than comprehension. Which is called nothing in Zohar. So until everything we comprehend is limited. Even the most highest sublime levels of Gan Eden, still limited. Why? Because Ma'ayin Matzah. It comes from Chachma, and Chachma is Mi'ayin. It comes from nothing, so to say. It comes from a place that's far beyond Chachma. When will emerge Hashem? Will this light be bestowed and its radiance will be manifested? Is dafking going to be, that's why the neshamas that are in Gan Eden, even in the world of Atzilus, that are great tzaddikim, Bnei Aliyah, great tzaddikim are in the world of Atzilus, their neshama are going to come down again. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to come back again to this world. Why? Because he didn't yet receive its true reward. It's going to come back again. Hashem is going to come back again, and a body, a soul in a body, soul vested in a pure and clear body. So now we understand what the concept of Tchias HaMesim is and why you need Tchias HaMesim. Why it's one of the Rambam writes, one of the 13 principles of Jewish faith is Tchias HaMesim. But a Jew doesn't believe in Tchias HaMesim, doesn't believe in Jewish faith. Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain why in Gan Eden, when the soul is not encumbered by a body, the light of Kesed cannot be manifest. Where paradoxically, this revelation becomes possible only when the world to come, in the time of resurrection, when the soul once again is invested in a body. Because it's well known that determining opinion is that of the Ramban, who states that the ultimate reward will be specifically the time of resurrection. Machlekes is a very famous machlekes between the Rambam and the Ramban. The Rambam still says that Gan Eden is the ultimate reward. And even though you have to Tchias HaMesim, and people will live maybe for thousands of years, but still they're going to go to Gan Eden. The Ramban disagrees, and he says, actually, when Mashiach comes, Tchias HaMesim, Eibush is emptying out Gan Eden. Not only is he emptying out Gan Eden, he's closing it. It's closing Gan Eden and Gehenna, it's closed. Why? Because it's going to be Olam Nitzchi. There'll be an everlasting situation. People will last forever, whatever that means. They'll live forever. That's the famous machlekes. And Kabbalah Chassidus agrees with the Ramban, with Nachmanides, over the Rambam on this. And it holds that Mashiach comes, and then there's going to be a Tchias HaMesim. There's going to be the Tzadikim. You're going to empty out Gan Eden, and they're going to close it down. And that's it. People will live in this world, Olam Nitzchi. There'll be an everlasting life. Who states the ultimate reward, because the ultimate reward is not in Gan Eden, the Ramban says, it's in this world. The souls will again be found within the body, and that's it. That's where they're going to come. So Moshe Rabbeinu is going to come back to the world, is going to be here forever. No, it's lost in B'Seif on Daf. For the beginning, the loftiest interlevel is wedged in the end. Today is the 25th day of Elul, the creation of the world. This is the last stop, and therefore it's the most important stop. This explains the teacher Chassidus. Beginning refers to the level of divinity that utterly transcends the involvement of any created world. This level of divinity is wedged in the last level preceding the creation of the evolving world. So the Sfiras HaKesed is revealed only in the end of all worlds, within the physical world. So that's why even the Shamas of Atzilus are waiting for Tchias HaMesim. As brought down, they're waiting for us, that we would awaken us, would bring Mashiach to the world, bring Tchias HaMesim, because it says that tzaddikim are going to come to the world before Mashiach, right before Mashiach. So that means Moshe and Aaron, that's a pasuk says Moses and Aaron and with them. That means the Moshe and Aaron, the merit to coming of Mashiach. Not only are they going to merit Tchias HaMesim, they're going to be Tchias HaMesim, but the Tchias HaMesim, the general population is going to happen after Mashiach comes. But great tzaddikim like Moshe and Aaron, all tzaddikim of the generations that gave their life up for Yiddishkeit and for Torah, mitzvahs, and the whole Avodah was to bring godliness to the world and to bring Mashiach to the world, they're going to merit also the coming of Mashiach. So we're going to merit to have them. They're going to be two, in essence, they're going to be 2 times Tchias HaMesim. There'll be Tchias HaMesim, resurrection of the dead for the righteous, and there's going to be resurrection of the dead. V'amech kulam tzadikim, for all the entire Jewish nation will be at a certain time after the coming of Mashiach. So therefore, they're going to be here, man Hashem. When Mashiach comes, Meir be Ameinu Mamish, they're going to be here, and they're going to all come down to Tchias HaMesim, because they all need to come down to see this revelation of godliness in the world, in a physical way, not in a spiritual way in Atzilus, but in a very physical, mundane, neshamas, beguf, and souls and bodies. Thus, the lesser radiance is muted to match the respective limitation involving the worlds can be absorbed as soul of Gan Eden. It's the embodied state. Transcendent radiance issued from Kesser is revealed to the soul only when it's clothed with a body. Seif Ma'aseh Machshava Tchila. It's like it's known, it says the final deed is the last stage of creation. The physical world was first in thought. So to find the man, right, in the creation of man. Man was created last. Today is the first day of creation of the world, 25th day of Elul. We celebrate Rosh Hashanah on the day of creation of man, which is the 6th day of creation, right, for Shabbos. So man was created last in the Torah. But not the same thing. Seif Ma'aseh Machshava Tchila. The last thing that was created was man, was really in the whole thought process of why he created the whole world. So even though he ultimately created man at the end of creation, nevertheless, the thought was the whole purpose of creation was man. So thought and creation both have the aspect of first and last. The lowest level of creation, which is the world, is rooted in the beginning in divine thought. So that's why the Eibushter created. That's why Chassidus says, what is the meaning of this? That all the upper worlds is all for this world. So even though this is the lowest world, it's all the upper worlds are not needed if not for this world. So that was the whole machshava. Even though it created Atzilus first, Bria second, Atzilus, all these levels of Seder Shtalshlus, and then ultimately came out this physical world, but it was all created for this physical world. This is why specifically the deeds performed in this last world of creation, while the soul is clothed in a physical body, are be able to listen, draw down the radiance of Kesser, because it's the thought. As explained here in the Alter Rebbe, this refers to mitzvah tzedakah, as well as the mitzvahs in general, all of which term tzedakah. It is the performance of physical mitzvahs in this material world that arose first in God's thought and will, at the level of divine Kesser, for the physical mitzvahs are the ultimate purpose of creation. That's the physical mitzvah, especially the mitzvah tzedakah, which is symbolic to all mitzvahs, concept of God's tzedakah. Returning to early discussion, it is now clear why in the future times the righteous, and your people all righteous, will be lauded as holy. For they will have revealed to them the divine radiance that is holy. And they will become holy. That's why the Alter Rebbe wrote before, they'll become the neshama, the purity, the neshama and the body both are pure in those days. In the sense that it transcends apprehension. And that's why we can't explain it. Moreover, they'll become so unified with this revelation that the term holy will apply to them as well. Right now, we only call God holy, Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish. Mashiach comes, the Zohar writes that every righteous man, the Amach Kulam Tzadikim, which is the entire Jewish nation, will be called holy. So the question is why you need to have Gan Eden. You have to go to be able to reach this level. All the generations have to absorb to be able to receive this light. You have to first go to Gan Eden. To apprehend the gear of the supernal chachma, each person according to his level. As explained earlier, the less divine light that radiates in Gan Eden is received by each soul according to their own particular degree. Tal Teira Machayehu. The Rebbe adds here, the soul will then rise at the time of resurrection of the dead through the dew of the Torah, Tal Torah, the dew of the Torah. As the sages teach, whoever engaged in the Torah study, the dew of Torah revives him. Tal Torah Matchayo, time of resurrection. Verse upon which our sages based this teaching reads, it says, in the prophecy, it says, your dead shall be resurrected. Those who lie in the dust will awaken and sing joyful praises, for the dew of light shall be your dew. And that's the dew. Tal, there's rain and there's dew. It is thus clear that the revival effected by the dew of Torah refers to the resurrection of the dead. There's some connection between Tal, dew, and resurrection. So this explains what is Tal. Tal is the dew, is like the dew. Tal is something that goes on top of the thing. Tal is also given without prayer. Tal is a matana, is a gift. Difference between rain and tal. In the Torah, rain you have to officially pray for, especially in Eretz. So we pray for the rain. Masha Baruch Hamed HaGeshem. But tal is given automatically. There's no need to pray for tal. It's a gift. Like Torah is a gift. Torah is also, that's why the tal Torah, it's the gift of Torah. When we learn Torah, there's two concepts in Torah. There's Mayim El Torah, there's the rain of Torah. That goes through Avana, that goes through our Avodah, through learning Torah. And then there's the dew of Torah, the gift within that. And that's Mechayehu. That's the Torah when we learn the Shema, the true concept of Torah, not something that is based on us, but it's the Pnimis Torah. It's a true concept of the learning of Torah. I might learn Torah and have a comprehension of it, but there's the true, there's the matana of Torah. In essence, that the Eibishter gives. If a person learns Torah, he might not see the real concept of the learning of Torah, what he really accomplishes by the learning of Torah. And that is like tal. That is like a gift to him. And that will ultimately, that gift, through my learning of Torah right now, that I comprehend and I enjoy and I'm learning and I'm gaining something from it, then there is the gift in the Torah. And that gift of Torah will be mechayehu. It ultimately gives the life of the soul. It gives the true nourishment soul. It ultimately gives you chiyas hamesim. It ultimately resurrects you. The Rebbe says, adds, thereafter we will be awakened. When you will awaken it, the Torah, will you cause to speak? And this promise is expounded in Avis to refer to the time that when you awaken, when the Eibishter awaken the Jewish people, the Jews throughout the generations, it will merit that their Tal Torah, the matana that they received by the learning of Torah, will awaken their bodies. And that goes in a time of Tchias HaMesim. V'dai le'mevin, and this is suffice to those that comprehend. In order to attain the level of Sefer Kalama, the time of resurrection, the soul must first be in Gan Eden and apprehend the supernal Chachma according to the particular degree of level. For though in Gan Eden, the soul apprehends no higher than the lesser permeating divine light, called Mamala Kalam, its perception is nevertheless augmented by the light of Kesser, which illuminates it. The soul indeed apprehends the latter enlightenment only to the extent of Yedias HaMetzias, knowledge of his existence, by the encompassing that is known as a makif, rather than penetrating revelation, Yedias HaSagas HaMos. These are, if you look at it, you get these two words, Yedias HaMetzias, the knowledge of existence, and there's Asagas Hamos, understanding the essence. So until Tchias HaMesim, we have Yedias HaMetzias in many levels. You can have Yedias HaMetzias in this world too. Self-understood, in Gan Eden, you have a greater Yedias HaMetzias, the knowledge of existence. Mashiach comes, and Tchias HaMesim, we're going to have Yedias Hamos, Asagas Hamos, is understanding the essence. Nevertheless, this added illumination enables the soul in time of resurrection to comprehend the essence of a Sefer Kalam. That's the prerequisite. That's why Gan Eden is not another step. It's not the end of the process. According to the Ramban, and according to Chassidus, according to Kabbalah, it's not the end of the process. It's thus another step in the process. Since, as stated above, that the soul of Gan Eden apprehends dwelling light, experience of Gan Eden consists of a relation of Torah within the soul, so to speak. The Torah is likened to food. The verse says, your Torah is within you, means sometimes something that affects one from within. As explained in length in chapter 1, Tanya chapter 5, part 1, chapter 5. However, Gan Eden is also illuminated by the glimmer of the radiance as a result of the performance of mitzvahs. And these acts as garments and encompassing light for the soul in Gan Eden, as mentioned above. So not only do you have Torah in Gan Eden, you have the mitzvah, because the mitzvahs are the garments for the soul to be able to receive this light. Time in the world to come, at the time of resurrection, the superior light of Sefer Kalam will be revealed, chiefly as a result of one's present performance of mitzvahs. This comes out to together the dew of Torah and revise them and causes them to speak. So that is the process. The question is, what about all the people? We're all here, Baruch Hashem, and we will not. We don't have to go to Gan Eden. And the Chassidus explains that also. First of all, our neshamas were in Gan Eden already. We're all connected to Gan Eden in a way, because we're all, as we know, we're all not new neshamas. So our neshamas were in Gan Eden already once, and they went through the process of Gan Eden. That's number one. But there's also the concept of Tchias HaMesim. And therefore, there's many that it's going to be like, to some, it says that everybody's going to die for a second. They'll merit all to Tchias HaMesim, even people that are here. And there are some that Rebbe's writes who hold that everything can be accomplished through bittul, through humility today. So we can accomplish all that. We can accomplish Gan Eden, Tchias HaMesim also through bittul, through having humility and being humble, and that's why Avraham said, "I'm but dust and ashes." In essence, I become nothing. I become like dust and ash. I become like I died, and now I'm resurrected. So we can accomplish resurrection, and even Gan Eden, we can accomplish it not by going through a death. Not by Chashon, not even going to Gan Eden, but accomplishing it through the concept of bittul, concept of humility and bittul in this world. That's what the Rebbe learns this whole concept. Today is the 25th day of the month. As I said, happy birthday to the world. Hey, the Eibishter created the world. Bereshis bara Elokim, Shemayim v'Haaretz. And the Tillim of the day is a half of chapter 20. Half chapter 119 is for the 25th day of the month. The Rebbe writes in the Yom Yom for the 25th day, the Rebbe writes, the Alter Rebbe related, when I was in Mezrich, I heard from my Rebbe, the Maggid of Mezrich, who said it in the name of the Baal Shem Tov. The 7th month, which is Tishrei, first month of the year, is blessed by God Himself. This week is Shabbos Mevarchim. Shabbos Mevarchim Tishrei, but we don't do the blessing of the month in the shul, right? We don't do even though Shabbos Mevarchim is the Shabbos that blesses the month, but we don't do the blessing in the shul, which do every other month. Why? Because Baal Shem Tov said that the Eibishter blesses this month. God blesses the month of Tishrei on Shabbos Mevarchim. So it is Shabbos Mevarchim, but the Eibishter blesses this month, the last Shabbos of the month of Elul. And because the Eibishter blesses this month, with this power, the Jews bless the other months of the 11 months of the year. So now that the Eibishter blesses this month, Shabbos Mevarchim, God comes down to the shul and He blesses us all with a beautiful month. Now we can bless all the other 11 months. It's written in this Shabbos, we're going to read, Atem Nitzavim Hayom. you stand this day. This refers to the day of Rosh Hashanah, which is the day of judgment. As written, the day has come. The Targum renders it, the day of great judgment is here. Yom HaSalem. So it's interesting, so you can learn the Gemara. It's interesting that the Torah doesn't call it a day of judgment. They call it Yom Teruah, a day of calling, a day of blowing. It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that's a day of judgment. It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah it's Rosh Hashanah. It's actually the 7th month of the calendar. But it's all learned out that it's a day of judgment. Tigers, whether the day of judgment, Yom HaSalem, the day has come, the day of judgment. Yet you remain standing, Atem Nitzavim Hayom. And a Yid remains standing firmly upright in Tzavim, meaning you will be vindicated in judgment. Moshe Rabbeinu promises that everybody will be vindicated in judgment. So on the Shabbos preceding Rosh Hashanah, the last Shabbos, this Shabbos, the last Shabbos in the month of Elul, we read the Parashas Atem Nitzavim, which is God's blessing on the Shabbos, a blessing of the 7th month, Shabbos Mevarchim. The 7th month of Tishrei is itself satiated. It's a month, and the Gemara says it's a heavy month. We're going into a heavy month, a satiated month. Rosh Hashanah, Shmei Tshuva, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah, Shmini Atzeret. It's a busy month. We're going into a busy month, a satiated month, and it turns and it gives it's Seveya the whole because it's Shvi. That's what the Gemara says. Why did the Eibushter put Tishrei in the 7th month? Why couldn't he put in the 1st month, Nisan? He put Tishrei in the 7th month because it's the root word is Seveya. In the 7th, Shvi comes from Sava, which means satiated. It's your Sava, your Achalta v'Savata. You are satisfied. The 7th month fills the Jew. It satiates the Jew. It fills him. The Alter Rebbe translated the word mashbiim, I say. And when the neshama comes down l'mayla from above, you in the simple translation mashbiim that we make him make a vow, but the Alter Rebbe uses the word masbiim, I say, changes the vow, and he said we satiate the neshama. Now before neshama comes down to the world, the Eibushter gives him all the capabilities. Doesn't give him. It says he doesn't just throw him to the wind. Say, here, go to the world and it's your problem. No, the Eibushter gives him Masbia. God makes sure the Neshama has all the powers to overcome anything he's supposed to overcome in this world. So, Masbia, I say. So too, the 7th month, Tishrei, is Seveya. Is Masbia, Seveya Yid. We should realize we're going into the 7th month that's going to give us Kayach for the next 11th month. And how does God give this month Kayach for the next 7th month, next 11 months? Because this Shabbos, God blesses this Shabbos. He doesn't ask a Jew to bless the month. The Eibushter himself, God himself blesses the month. And that gives the capability for the Yid to not only to go to pack himself up. It's brought down like we're going to a Yid. We're going like a businessman. Maybe once a year he has to go to the market. This month we're going to the market. We're going to the market. We're going for buying. Everything's on sale. We're gonna pack up. Then we have 11 months to unpack whatever we bought. So there we're going with an 18-wheeler. Get an 18-wheeler. Pack yourself up, whatever you could. Get whatever you can out of the month. Get whatever good. As I said, think big and take whatever you can. Chatei v'achayel, chatei v'shti. Get whatever you can for Rosh Hashanah, for Yom Kippur, for Sukkot. Get whatever you can. Pack yourself up. Don't worry what you're going to do with it. You'll worry about it after. Right now, just go out and buy. You'll worry about selling later. That expression, Chatei v'achel, this world is like a party. Chatei v'achel, chatei v'shti. Go out and eat and drink. Get whatever you can. Because it's going to end. The month's going to end. It's not going to last forever. So the Eibushter blesses the month. In turn, satiates all do with an abundance of good for the duration of the upcoming year. So we're going to have to, the Mitzvah Hashem, this Shabbos Mevarchim, we bless the new month. The Eibushter is going to bless the new month. He's going to give us koyach. that we're going to go next week into Rosh Hashanah. We're going to start a full, heavy month of in the market, of acquiring unbelievable stuff. The Gashmis Baruch for an unbelievable year that we're going to unpack Be'ezat Hashem. And the ones asked, I think that's down to them. His son asked him, "No, if the someone said, he said, what are you going to do now?" He said, "Now we have to unpack the packages. Now we have to unpack it. We packed up the packages. We laden the truck. Now we have to unpack the truck. Take us hopefully in next year to unpack everything that we have received in this month, this beautiful month that we're coming to, a month of Seveya. Again, it's not only the month of the Sevi, Chodesh Hashvi, which we mentioned many times in davening, Chodesh Hashvi, but it's Chodesh HaSeveya. It's a month. It's a seventh month because it's a month that is Seveya, that satiates. It gives us enough fuel to enough brachas and enough success, enough potential to be able to accomplish everything that we do in the next 11 months. Misham, today we're going to learn a sikh of the Rebbe. I think it's on Rosh Hashanah, so everybody's welcome to come to Chabad at 10 a.m. or on Zoom. Come and learn some beautiful sikh of the Rebbe.